Mm. Love my coffee in the morning. Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, we know this does not work. And thank you for this morning's edition of Don't Sleep on the Dallas Cowboys, because you literally cannot sleep on the Dallas Cowboys. You know, things happen late in the evening, late at night, in the middle of the night, first thing in the morning. So you always want to be up to speed with what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. But as you can see, the clock is still ticking. We are 94 days, 7 hours, 57 minutes, and 29 seconds away from the season opener for the Dallas Cowboys. This week's OTAs, yesterday was the last practice, done for the 2018 season. Cowboys have a few days off and come back the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th for a 3-day mini camp, and then they're off for 5 weeks, and from that point on, from July 24th, the Dallas Cowboys will be talking about football every single day with players on the field. And I got to tell you, I'm excited. I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about the young guys that are going to be there. I know a lot of people are saying that the Dallas Cowboys, they're headed for 8-8. I don't see that myself. I see a team that went 9-7 when they lost key players. I saw a team that struggled when things weren't going right, with Zeke Elliott being suspended. I saw a team that definitely didn't get a single call. I mean, 7 games without getting a holding call on the offenses. But with all of that, the team still went 4-2 in their division. And I know the talking heads say the Giants are so much better. They couldn't get any worse. The Redskins, they improved. Alex Smith is a better Kirk Cousins. Okay. But the Cowboys have made improvements and well. One of the biggest improvements that I've made is just having Zeke Elliott for a whole season. Just getting Tyron Smith healthy. Just getting some more age on the defensive backfield. And adding some depth, which is the biggest thing you can take away. If we did nothing else, if we still had Zeke Elliott suspended, if we still had the injuries we still had the bad calls, had the Dallas Cowboys had depth, I guarantee they would have been in the playoffs. Had we had a better backup offensive lineman or better backup linebackers, or if we'd had some healthy defensive backs early in the season because our rookies were dealing with hamstrings, we've been in the playoffs. We only needed one more game. We were 9-7. We weren't 2-14. But you look at this team, the way it's being built, its trajectory is going up. It's not going down. Yes, we've lost some experienced players in Jason Witten and Dez Bryant, but you're bringing back everybody else on the offense. Possibly the best running back in football. Best offensive line in football that's looking really mean. That alone is going to make your team better than it was last year. But we've got young guys that are hungry, that are chopping at the bit. They closed OTAs yesterday with Noah Brown working with first offense, touchdown pass from Dak Prescott. We've got guys that have been put on notice, understanding that they can have a role, but they've got to step up. We've got, a lot of potential. Rico Gathers, a guy who you love out in coverage, but couldn't block to save his life. He's been maligned a lot. He's been told he needs a whole lot of work. He's been told he's been needing to step up, and maybe that's motivation. But he went from 265 pounds to 282 pounds. He's put some beef on, which hopefully will help him to block. Now, blocking is one of those things that, you learn the angles, you learn how to block, you learn leverage about being low and stuff, and it's not easy being 6'8", getting low on these pass rushers and stuff. But I think he's getting the message to understand that, you know what, I'm not just being handed this. I got to earn this, and I've got to do better than what I've done thus far. I can't just show up, especially a guy who didn't play football since 8th grade. So you like seeing that. Doesn't guarantee he's going to make the team. Doesn't mean he's going to be a starter. But he's putting in the work to try and change the narrative. Jaylon Smith, like I said, could I have been wrong about Jaylon Smith? I give you guys my thoughts, my ideas, my opinions, and they're mine. It doesn't mean I'm right. But if I'm wrong, I'm going to say I was wrong. Going into the draft, I said, I'm not sure we want to go ahead and count on the idea of Jaylon Smith being our number one. I'm not sure we want to gamble that on him because it may be that that foot was as good as it was going to get. And when you have a dropped foot, when you have a nerve damage, when you have catastrophic knee injury like he did, with nerve damage into the foot, the longer it takes for nerves to regenerate, the less the chance is that they will. And looking at how much time had passed and where he was, at the end of the season, you might have thought that that's as good as it's going to get. He may always have to wear a brace, which you can use them in certain spots. But as we pointed out before, the problem, especially early on in the season, was when you looked at the Rams game, they realized Jaylon Smith can't plant and cut and get a guy in the slot. He can't change direction because you don't have the foot ability to push off, to plant your foot and go. You could see when he would go to a tackle, most of his tackles were arm tackles. He couldn't drive his body, his head across the trunk and wrap up and take a guy backwards. Thus, a lot of the tackles were he'd get a hold of a guy and hang on and get carried for a couple more yards. And so my thought was, you sure you want to go into a season and say that's going to be the guy if that foot's not going to be there? But right now he's been working OTAs without that brace. And guy, he's fast. His shuttle time now, he never run the 40 because he was injured during the combine. His shuttle run right now is faster than any linebacker that was drafted in this year's draft. He is so fast in practice that taking on the running backs, the coach had to say, take it easy, slow it down. If that is the case, that bodes well for the defense. Sean Lee, they pretty much kept him out of OTAs. They're like, look, we know what you can do. We know you're in shape. We don't want you to risk any setbacks. We need you healthy for as many games as possible. I'm okay with that. I am fantastic with that. So you got Van Der Esch, who's got some soreness, I believe, on his ankle and stuff. He didn't practice yesterday. But when you start looking at him, you start seeing some of the comparisons to Brian Urlacher. We'll see if that happens. I kind of get worried when guys that haven't even played their first play in football, you start comparing to somebody else. To me, you start setting them up for failure. We did that with Randy Gregory. We immediately came out and said he's like Charles Haley. You can see the parallels. And thus far, we know what we got so far thus far. Maybe that'll change. Maybe he will become a Charles Haley. But to me, let's see him on the field before we start anointing somebody. And we got DeMarcus Ware, who's in town as a voluntary coach. And you have to wonder if he's thinking about, you know what, I'd like to be a coach. He's been working with our Cowboys, DeMarcus Lawrence and things, and if he can get DeMarcus Lawrence just a couple more tricks in that bag, DeMarcus Lawrence could be a beast. I think the Cowboys are going to keep that franchise tag on him for this season. You only have until July 15th to make a long-term deal. I don't hear about any negotiations on that front, so I think the Cowboys are okay with the franchise tag. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is okay with that franchise tag because he knows, like Kirk Cousins did, I'm betting on me. And if I do what I know I can do, I'm going to be well taken care of. And I can possibly have options. So that's where we are with him. And the last part I'm going to go in here, as far as notes from the last OTA, is another guy who looks to have changed a little bit is Taco Charlton. Taco much maligned. You know, everybody expects a rookie to come out first day one to be an impact player, you know, to be a all pro. But that's not the case. It's very rarely that you have, especially pass rushers, that come out the box and are just automatically great day one, especially when they're not even starting because you have a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence in front of them. But he was raw to begin with. And the Cowboys knew they needed pass rushers, but where they were drafting in 2017, by the end of that draft, the pass rushers were going off the board quick. There was no chance to get one in the second round. So they reached a little bit to get Taco and hoped that he was going to be the guy. He has some skills, but was very, very raw. And you could see that he started to come on as the season wore on. Ended up with 3 sacks. Not fantastic, but he didn't have that much playing time. He's come to camp a little bit fitter, and it looks like he's in even better shape. And his attitude is even better as far as football goes. So hopefully these younger guys will step in and, of course, do better than what they're saying of the Cowboys being 8-8. So that being said, I got some work I got to go do. And the clock is still ticking. I'm Mark Holmes, and Lord, I forgot to turn the light on. I will see you guys later. Have a great day.